What's up, guys? Ryan here from the Wise Fire Alliance and Team Push Fire, bringing you another deck tutorial on the channel. Today I'll be going over the Infinite Negate build for Prank Kids. This deck has been seeing a lot more hype over the last few days because of the announcement of the Link 1 coming on Phantom Rage. While I will be doing a tutorial on that further down the road, there are things this deck can absolutely do right now. It actually has some good matchups in the format thanks to having an in-archetype Storm Duster and an in-archetype Raigeki, both quick effects for your opponent's turn, so it can really disrupt Adamantipator and Eldritch plays. You also have the Infinite Negate route, which I'll talk about in here, but overall it's just a really fun deck, and thought it would be a good idea to go into it. First up, shout out to our sponsors, Wise Fire Alliance, Ancient Gaming, Imperium Duelist, and Maydu Gaming. Without these guys, I would not have the free time to be able to upload videos like this, so thank you to them. I want to highlight Imperium Duelist. They have some great new deck sleeves on their website, so make sure you check them out. All of these guys' descriptions will be down in the all of their links will be in the description down below. Alright, so we will go ahead and get into the deck profile here. So I want to start by saying that all of the Prank Kids have the same main effect, which is that if they are used for a link or fusion summon of a Prank Kid extra deck monster, they float. They go into another one for the deck that's not themselves. They all have like a second effect that comes with that, which I'll go over. You do have to play 3 of every single Prank Kid. In my opinion, it's not even optional, because not only do you need them for the combo, but you need them for your grind game. You run out of your Prank Kids really fast. And there are ways to recycle them, but you still run out of them, so you need to play as many as you can. So first up is Fansies. This one, like I said, lets you summon out from the deck. To do that, you send a Prank Kids card from your deck to your graveyard. So this can be Prank Kids monster or one of your spells or traps. And then it lets you float out. So it's really good in that way. Dropsies, you gain 1,000 life points, and then you get the special summon one, so it's really good for time and just for your grind game in general. Lampsies, also really good. Inflict 500 damage, so again, good for time. Also helps you to be able to get a little bit of extra damage in. It's also level 3, which is really important for our combo later on. And Roxy's allows you to banish a card from your hand and draw a card, and then special summon out Prank Kids. So this one just gets you some extra card advantage in your hands. So those are the 4 main ones and their effects. The biggest reason why you play them, obviously, is because it's what the archetype is, and they summon from the deck. And that's just a broken mechanic in general. Summoning from the deck has always been really good, and so because of that, this deck is able to put a lot of monsters on board and put a lot of pressure on the opponent going first or second. We play 3 Scorpio. This card gets you access to Polymerization or Instant Fusion, and thanks to Cobra, and then it also allows you to go into your Kiribini place for your Infinite Negates. You may play 1 Avion and 1 Mist Valley Thunderbird. These are what sets up your Infinite Negates. You do not need to open up Scorpio to do the combo. 2 Prank Kids also get you there, but the Scorpio is the easiest way to go into it, and we'll get into all that in the combo set. You play 1 Baby Crow because it's searchable in the combo, so there's not really a reason not to play it. And then 3 Parallel Exceed. While you cannot make Rafflesia before your 5th summon, you can make the Rafflesia before you commit to any of your Prank Kids plays. So that's the really nice thing with Exceed, is because even if they Nibiru you after you go into like your Scorpio stuff and you get your summons out there, you still have the Instant Fusion in your hand, and you have both of your Prank Kids engrave from the combo before 5 summons, so they have to Nibiru you on the summon of your Exceed, or else they lose their opportunity because you summon Rafflesia. And even if they do Nibiru you there, you still have full combo because Instant Fusion into engrave is full combo. So Exceed allows you to play through Nibiru, which is really, really, really nice. And that's it for the main deck monsters. The big downside monster-wise in here is that you don't really have space for hand traps. There are things you can cut, and when the Link 1 comes out, the more pure build I'll be playing is cutting a lot of this stuff, and it's going to have more hand traps in it. You could also cut some other stuff in the main deck for hand traps. But your main goal with this deck is to go first and set up an Infinite Negate. So you want to do that as consistently as possible, and then rely on games 2 and 3 for your side deck to have hand traps. Definitely not necessarily the most resilient deck for it because you're not making those hand traps, but the good news is a lot of your cards are really good at going second anyways, so hopefully if you can bait out a Negate or something, then you're able to play the rest. For the spells, we play 3 of the field spell, which is Prank Kids Place. This card's insane. When it's activated, you can add a Prank Kids monster from your deck to your hand. When the new Link 1 comes out, any Prank Kid by itself is full combo. Currently with the deck, any 2 Prank Kids and a Fusion Spell is full combo, or Scorpio is full combo. So this card is essential for getting you a Prank Kids to your hand, which allows you to be able to do your combos. It also has the effect of if a monster is Fusion Summoned, one of your Prank Kids are Fusion Summoned, all of your monsters gain 500 attack. This is good for damage, but even more important for chain blocking or stopping Ash. You are able to make your place be your last effect on chain. That way your Prank Kids are able to summon from the deck. And then it also has the effect of your opponent losing 500 for their monsters if you link summon. So again, it's really nice to be able just to get over things and then also be able to chain block. So it's great in that way. I play 3 Pandemonium. This is the fusion spell of the deck. It's a quick play spell, but can only be activated in the main phase. So even though it is really nice at the quick play spell, the fact that it's only in the main phase obviously restricts you from like doing shenanigans in battle, stuff like that. But you do play 3 in my opinion because the card is extremely good. You need to see a fusion spell for you to be able to go into your full combos. So there's no reason not to play 3 of this. It does lock you into Prank Kids for the rest of the turn, but most of the time with Pandemonium, you're going to be using it after the rest of your combo, or you're going to be doing just a full Prank Kid combo anyways. So the card's really, really good, and you get it back off your resources. So you play 1 Pranks, in my opinion. Some people play 2. If you're playing a more pure build, I think you should play 2. This is like basically the True Draco Disciple of the deck, so it shuffles 3 back in and you draw 1 during the end phase. It also is a token generator. You discard a Prank Kid to go ahead and get a token, which is really helpful for if you don't have a way to get another one on board and you need to go into like Cock-a-doodle-doo or something to get your fusion spell. It allows you to go through it that way. So it is a really good card, but because of the way the deck plays with the infinite negates, you don't need to see this in your opening hand. Most of the time, you're going to be adding it off of your Cock-a-doodle, or off your Doodle-Doo, not Cock-a-doodle-doo, off your Doodle-Doo, anyways. So I think you'll need 1, but 2 is definitely an option. I play 3 Poly and 2 Invocation, so basically 5 Polymerization. The biggest thing this deck loses to is not having a fusion spell in hand. So, in my opinion, you want to max out almost as much as you can on fusion spells. 3 Invocation is stretching it. I don't think you need 9 in the deck, especially because you're already playing the Pre-Scorpio. But I definitely think you can play like 3 Invocation and even some Poly Searchers if you're playing a more pure build. Because again, not seeing a fusion spell is the biggest reason why this deck will lose. 1 Terraforming to get you to your place, 1 Instant Fusion, it summons out Rocket, it's just a good card. It allows you to go in your combo. 1 Reborn, you're playing a combo deck, so if you get stopped at some point, Reborn can go ahead and continue your combo. 3 Called By, you want to get your infinite negate off as consistently as possible, so having access to stop Ash and Veiler and stuff like that, DD Crow, is going to make this really good for you. Also, Called By on Eldritch is just amazing, so I pretty much play this in everything right now because of Eldritch. So for traps, we play 1 Prank Kids Plan. This card is super good, super good actually. So during the main phase, so during your opponent's turn, you can do this. You can go ahead and link summon a Prank Kids Link monster using Prank Kids you control. So you can go ahead and go into like your Feather Duster or even your Searcher on their turn, and then all your Prank Kids will trigger to summon out from the deck. So if you have like that, and then you also have like your Pandemonium or even Pandemonium and then that, you're able to really do some cool shenanigans with setting up like a Feather Duster and a Raigeki on their turn. So the card's really good. It also has a good effect in Graveyard as well if you don't get it back, which is when your opponent declares an attack, you can shuffle any number of Prank Kids cards from your graveyard in the deck, and then that monster loses 100 attack for each one shuffled. So it's a really good way to get your resources back in. Most of the time you're going to be having this on your board to go ahead and use that link summon up. And then 1 Gravedigger Trap Hole. This is obviously how you stop Nibiru. So that's it for the main deck. It is 42. There's not too much I want to cut, honestly, because you don't want to see things like Cobra or your Avian or Thunderbird in your hand to start with. I don't mind playing a little bit more than 40, just because any 2 Prank Kids and a Fusion Spell is your combo. So playing a little bit over 40 is okay with me in this deck. For the extra deck, we play 1 Battle Butler. This is the Raigeki of the deck. It has 3,000 attack, 3,000 defense, and it uses the original parade of Lamseys, Dropseys, and Fansies to go ahead and make this. It has a quick effect. You can trade with this card, destroy all monsters from it controls, and then if it's sent to graveyard by an opponent's effect, you can add a non-fusion monster from your grave back to your hand. Right, and special summons. The first effect of Tributing to Destroy is not once per turn, so there are ways that you can loop Battle Butler, and when we get the Link 1, it actually makes this really good. We play two Rockets. Because of playing the combo version, you don't have room to play 3, unfortunately. But it's your instant fusion target, and it has the effect of it can tribute itself to summon any 2 Prank Kids that are non-fusions from your grave back to your field. So this is really good for going into your combo. It's also good for your grind game to put some extra monsters on board. We play 1 Wither Watcher. Again, I wish we could play 2, but we just don't have the space. This one does the same thing as Rocket, but on your opponent's turn. So this one allows you, for instance, to get back your Feather Duster and like your Bow Wow to be able just to get a lot of resources. So Rip Roar and Roaster, this is the Feather Duster. It tributes itself as a quick effect and destroys all spells and traps your opponent controls. Same thing if it's sent to the grave by a card effect, it targets a monster or any card in your graveyard actually, and except a Link monster and adds it to your hand. So this gets back anything you want, but most of the time you're using for the Feather Duster effect. And again, the Feather Duster effect is not once per turn, so there are ways to loop it for sure. This is what makes it really good against like Ultra Guys or Elvish. We played 2 Doodle Doo. Again, I really wish we could play 3. We just don't have the space in here for it. Doodle Doo is one of the best cards in your deck. It adds any Prank Kid, Spell, or Trap from your deck to your hand, and it tributes off itself during your turn to add 2 different Prank Kid cards from your grave to your hand. So this loads you up for getting like your plan in your Pandemonium back, and just allows you to continue extending. It's also a win monster, which is really important. Next, we play 1 Prank Kids Bow Wow Bark. Big 2 Prank Kids monster. This one, not only does it buff your the attack of your sorry, not only does it buff the attack of your monsters that it's pointing to, but it also gets you back 2 Prank Kids from your graveyard during your opponent's turn, and it also gives you let's see here, card protection, so they can't destroy you with like Raigeki or Lightning Storm, stuff like that. And I believe it's Cock-a-Doodle-Doo that let me see. No, sorry, it's Washer. Washer allows you to not be destroyed by battle. So if you set up like your Washer and your Bow Wow Bark on your opponent's turn, it protects you from battle and from card effects, and so you can pretty easily overwhelm them on the next turn. For non-Prank Kid pieces, we play 1 BORRELSWORD. That makes it super easy, so there's no reason not to play it. 1 Smorg, Bird of Sovereignty. This card allows you to go into your Infinite Negate. Cherubini, you need it for the Infinite Gate combo. Union Carrier, you need it for the Infinite Gate combo. You play 1 Lyrilusk and 1 Fortune Tune. Fortune Tune is the one card you could realistically cut. The only issue is if you open up multiple fansies, you can have a hard time going with the full combo. So playing both of these allows you to just guarantee the combo a little bit more often. And then Rafflesia, because you're able to summon it to go ahead and get upgrade for your trap pool. So this is what you can do off of just opening up a Prank Kid and Scorpio, or Place and Scorpio. So Place, go ahead and add your Prank Kid. We'll add Fancy here. We'll go ahead and normal summon Scorpio, sending Fancy, summoning out the Cobra, which will get us instant fusion. From here, we will link into Cherubini. Cherubini for cost will send Lampsey. We'll not only use instant fusion to get out Rocket. Rocket effect will bring back Lampsey and the Prank Kid you discarded earlier. So you'll link off those 2 to go into Doodle Doo. Doodle Doo will add a card to hand, and then your other 2 will flow out into 2 more. This is where it gets a little bit different from the standard combo. These 2 right here, you're going to want to link them off into another Doodle Doo. And then you need to make sure you either summon out 2 Fansies or 2 Lampsies off of this, depending on what you used, because you'll need to make a Wing Beast out of this using your rank 1 or your rank 3. That's why you play both, is just in case, like, for instance, if you opened up 1 and you had to do something different, you can go into either one. But right here, we'll go ahead and then we have to banish for Roxy's effect to draw, but right here, you'll go ahead and go into the Lyrilusk. The Lyrilusk will search for the Deity Crow. You'll link the Lyrilusk and the Cherubini out into the Shinobird, the Smorg, sorry. And then you'll link the 2 Cock-a-Doodle-Doos into Union Carrier. Carrier will make Mist Valley Thunderbird go here. And then in the end phase, you'll summon out Avion off of some Org effect. And then now during their turn, if you don't know how this combo works, Avian, whenever they activate a card, you bounce a Mist Valley from your field to your hand and negates it. So you'll bounce a Thunderbird, and then Thunderbird has an effect that's not once per turn, that when it's face up on the field, returns to the hand. It can't attack, but it can special summon itself again. And so you just repeat that with Avion, because Avion is also not once per turn. The second combo I'm going to show you is basically the same combo, but this one has Parallel Exceed. And I just want to be able to highlight real quick what you're able to do with it. So you don't really need the Gold Buy. So again, this is Parallel Exceed with Scorpio and any Prank Kid. So Scorpio, we'll go ahead, discard that, get out the Cobra. You don't actually add Invocation here, you add Instant Fusion. Go ahead, link into Cherubini. Cherubini, we'll go ahead and send for cost, and then the Exceed will also trigger. So right here is where they can Nibiru you, right? Because if they don't Nibiru you here, then you make the Rafflesia and they can Nibiru you after that. If they Nibiru you here, you still have your full Prank Kid set up with Instant Fusion in your hand, so you can actually just still go into your full plays. So, but yeah, so you'll just make the Rafflesia if not, and then you'll go into the same combo, Instant Fusion out the Rocket, bring back 2, go ahead and link into your Doodle, and send, go ahead and summon out your 2, add, go into another Doodle here, summon out either 2 Fanzy or 2 of the 2 Lampsy, because it needs to be either your 1s or your 3s. Overlay, make your Simorg, link your 2 Doodles into Union Carrier, and you also get your DD Crow off of the MCs. And so you'll go Thunderbird, Apex, and so your ending board here you're looking at is Avion again with your Infinite Negate, but this time you have the Rafflesia. Combo number 3 here is going to be the Infinite Negate combo, but off of 2 Prank Kids and Poly. This also works with Instant Fusion and Prank Kids, so if it's going to Nibiru you like in that last combo at that spot, you can still go ahead and do it. What you'll start by doing is activating Poly, and you'll go ahead and send the Dropsy and the Fanzy, or whatever one you have in hand, to get a Rocket, and then those 2 will float out into 2 different ones. So you want to make sure you don't summon any of the duplicates here, because you want to make sure you can get your 4 summons off immediately. You'll go ahead and link those 2 into Doodle Doo. You can set up your chain links however you'd like, get your Doodle Doo, summon out 2 Fansies here. This is going to be important. You can summon out 2 Fansies or 2 Lampsies, but it needs to be 2 at the same level. You'll go ahead and immediately overlay into your Lyrilusk. Go ahead and detach and add DD Crow. And then you'll link into the Simorg. And then you will go ahead and use Rocket to bring back out. So Rocket does have to bring 2 different names. But the good news is Union Carrier allows you to use type or attribute. But the other good news is, even though these are the same attribute wind, they're also both the same type. So they're both thunder, which is really nice. And so you can go into Union Carrier here, and you get your Thunderbird, and you get your Avion. Okay, so last combo here is going to be what you do if you don't have access to a Fusion spell or Cobra or anything like that to be able to go into Infinite Negate. So Pandemonium is a good example of this. Since it locks you into Prank Kid monsters, you're going to have to stick with Prank Kids. So this is just Pandemonium plus any 2 Prank Kids. In this case, we have Place here. So you'll go ahead and add any Prank Kid to your hand. And you'll use Pandemonium. Go ahead and summon out Rocket. And you'll get your 2 summons. Make sure it's 2 different ones again. You'll go ahead and link those 2 into your Cock-a-Doodle-Doo. Cock-a-Doodle-Doo will add Pandemonium or Trap or whatever you'd like. Generally here you're going to add Pandemonium, and then you're going to send the Trap off of Fansies. So you'll go ahead and summon out 2 more. You will use Doodle-Doo here, and it'll get back Pandemonium and Plan. So these are going to be the cards you use on your opponent's turn. You'll go ahead and use Rocket here, bringing back. The important thing here is that whatever card you bring back, it needs to be one of these 3. It needs to be either Fanzy, Lampsy, or Dropsy, because it's going to be essential for your combo on their turn. So you'll go ahead and bring back that, and then you'll also want to bring back the Doodle Doo because it's a link too. You'll go ahead and link off your Roxy and your Lampsy to go into Bow Wow. So Bow Wow has the effect on your opponent's turn. You can add 2 Prank Kids. So you'll go ahead and now you'll set the plan and you'll set the Pandemonium. You have the Dropsy here. And so now on their turn, the first thing you'll do is activate Bow Wow, getting back your Fanzy and your Lampsey, and we'll go to their main phase. They'll activate something, and then you'll go ahead and use Prank Kid's Pandemonium. You'll tribute off your Dropsy, or sorry, you'll fusion summon your Dropsy, your Fanzy, and your Lampsey here to go ahead and make the Battle Butler. So this is your Raigeki. And then all 3 of your Prank Kids will trigger at this point, and again, you can chain block them thanks to the place. So you'll go ahead and summon out 3 more. Summoning out the Roxys is a good idea here because it'll float again. And then as soon as that's done, you have the access to go into Prank Kid's Plan. And Plan is going to allow you to use your Link 2, which is why you brought back the Doodle-Doo, the Roxy, and one of your others. I usually like to use Dropsy because Fanzy is a little bit bigger for defense. And this will go into your Feather Duster. And so now you're bored, and also your Roxy will float out as well. So you'll get a draw on your turn. And so now on their turn, from just your standard play, you end up with a Feather Duster and a Battle Butler on their turn. So you get the Raigeki and the Feather Duster, and then even if you lose both of these 2 resources, you have your Link 2 right here, so you can get your fusion spell or whatever you need, and then they'll also float, and you have easy access to BORRELSWORD or an OTK on the next turn. Alright, so now let's go and talk about the pros and cons of the deck. So the pros, first of all, you're looking at flexible builds. You can play this pure, you can play it with Infinite Negates, you can play it with Toad. There's so many ways you can build this deck. There's lots of routes you can take. Like I said, those are just the 4 main combos, but there are so many more ways you can go. A lot of your cards do the same thing because they all float, so there's a lot of ways you can do it. It's pretty hand trap resistant. Ash doesn't really do a whole lot to it, unless it's like well timed, and even then you usually have a way to play around it. Valor or Imperm on your Doodle-Doo sometimes can be really good, but usually you can still, if you have like an Fusion in hand or something, you can go ahead and play through it. It does have built-in battle and destruction protection with your links and your fusion, so you're able to just have that kind of ability to stall out and grind. Board wipes, obviously you have access to Raigeki and Feather Duster on their turn or your turns. Easy OTK access, everything swarms the field really easily, so it gets you to BORRELSWORD, and even your fusions are pretty big. And you have a Nibiru out thanks to Rafflesia. For the downsides, you don't have Not the Dark Ruler no more in the main. There is a hard Eldritch matchup. Eldritch having the ability to send means that your built-in battle destruction doesn't really matter because it's just going to send it. And then obviously with the traps, they float, so even if you Feather Duster them, if they may not have their first option of traps, but they're going to be able to go into something else. But the nice thing is the Feather Duster does actually help you a lot in the Eldritch matchup. So usually you're going to want to focus on looping that, because even if the Eldritch is on board, you can still try to play around that. You can't play that many hand traps in the deck. You can if you're playing Pier, but if you're playing a more combo heavy variant, you can play basically no or very little hand traps, which can hurt you going second, especially if you're going up against like a really heavy combo format or FTKs, which is unfortunate. Very tight extra deck. It's very fusion spell reliant, so it loses to anti-spell, it loses to order, and it loses to not seeing a fusion spell. And it does brick. Obviously, you're playing 12 Prank Kid monsters right now that don't do anything without a fusion spell, and then you're playing 8 to 9 plus fusion spells or access to fusions that don't do anything without a Prank Kid. So obviously it's going to brick. The good news is once we get the Link 1, any Prank Kid is full combo, so it's going to brick a lot less than that. Some different tech ideas. Barrier Statue of Stormwinds is really nice if you're playing against a deck that literally can't out it, or if you can even set up like your Raigeki with a Barrier Statue and summon this off like the Simorg or whatever, then you're able to just lock them out of the game and then kill them on the next turn. It's really nice. A lot of your stuff is wind as well, so you can easily go into that. Griffin is an option. If you're playing a more pure build, I would recommend playing the Griffin if you're not playing Infinite Negates, because Griffin can go ahead and you can use the Cheerbini to set off, because the Cheerbini, like the Predator Plant engine itself is still really good because it gets you to instant fusion and it allows you to dump 2 in the grave. But then you can also go with the Cheerbini and do your Griffin plays, and you can send the you can send order off of your Curious and stuff like that, and there's just plays you can do with Griffin that makes it really nice to be able to set stuff. So Griffin's definitely an option. And then I did put Adamantipator Researcher on here. There is a really good Prank Kid Adamantipator deck that's kind of floating around right now. it's a lot more Adamanticator than it is Prank Kid, but it is extremely powerful and it does a lot of really good things. Overall deck ratings, I'd say the difficulty is advanced. Once you kind of get used to the deck, it does get a little bit easier to play. But there are so many routes and so many different things to do with this deck. It's definitely not as linear as like a normal combo deck. So if you're planning on using this for like a big tournament, I would recommend practicing with it for quite a bit. Going first, having the ability to set up Infinite Negates or Duster Raigeki is really good, and it does it pretty consistently. So I would give it a B+. Going second, I would give it a B. Although you don't play handcrafts, you do have a lot of cards in general that are really good at going second. Consistency, like I said, right now it's just gonna, like, consistency when we get the Link 1 is easily gonna be an A, because it's literally the whole combo. But for right now, it is a B- because if you don't open up access to Fusion or access to Prank Kid, it is going to be a really hard day for you. OTK, I give it an A. This deck pumps out Borrels, Link Force extremely easily, and it also has very big Fusion monsters and Link monsters that are just big in general. So it does OTK really easily. And then its grind game is actually pretty good because so many of your Link monsters and Fusion monsters bring back stuff from your graveyard and everything floats. You're able to, if you can manage your resources pretty well, you can actually grind really well against other grind decks. So I give it a B- for that. Overall, I would give the deck a B-. It definitely is a aggressive deck that is going to try to overwhelm you or your opponent with its capabilities. But it does have its glaring difficulties with its consistency right now. I would call it Rogue for sure right now. It's definitely going to struggle against a lot of meta matchups, but it does have the option again with having board clearing with Infinite Negates and with people not really knowing what the deck does. You could probably take it to a bigger tournament and have some good chances with it. This deck has won a YCS in the past, but obviously that was a different format. I would say mostly though, where you're going to see this deck, if you're looking just to know how to play against it, you're going to see it at a regional and local level. It's not very likely that you'll come across this at a YCS if that ever starts up again after COVID. But for right now, that is where we'll be going. So I know that this is a little bit of a longer video, but thank you guys for sticking around for it. Because of how long it is, I'll definitely be putting timestamps in the description. That way you can go if you already have like a deck list, you just want to see combos, whatever it may be. There will be timestamps. So thank you guys so much for checking us out, and as always, have a great day.